Hey there everybody, in today's video I'm going to share with you 3 things that I think are not obvious autistic traits. Things I wish I would have known about earlier when my son was exhibiting them. Before I get into it, I just want to say welcome. This is a space I created for us to share our resources and share our experiences to improve the lives of families living with autism. The first not so obvious autistic trait is meltdowns. Now you might say to yourself, that's pretty obvious. But in general, kids between like 1 and 3 years old, they take meltdowns on a regular basis. But for us, Shane was taking them way more than other kids. They were emotionally and physically draining for him. And what seemed to me is they were happening without a trigger. Now, I didn't know what the trigger was, but now I do. He would take them because he had sensory overload or because he wasn't understanding. When he was 1.5, 2 years old, I didn't know that. If your child is taking meltdowns and there is no trigger, and you don't understand why, and they're happening more often than other kids, and they're way more aggressive, it's definitely worth consulting a professional to find out exactly what is happening with your child. Next is the fixation of certain objects. When Shane was really young, right, like as young as 1.5 years old, he was obsessed with animals. He just loved them. And I just said to myself, he's a kid, he likes animals. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But the reality is that he was fixated, obsessed, and not just liking them. He would go around and point to every single animal and ask people what the name was, making sure that they knew the name, even if he knew the name himself. And if the person didn't name the animal, he would get upset. He would read the same animal books at home and at the daycare over and over and over again. He would do the same animal puzzles over and over and over again. And in the beginning, I just saw that as being cute. I thought, like, he likes animal. Maybe he's going to be a vet one day. I don't know. But the reality is when a child is fixated, obsessed, not just likes, that could be a sign of something more. So definitely, if your child is exhibiting fixation and obsession on like 1 or 2 specific things, it's worth exploring. The last thing is coordination, and I don't hear this talked about a lot in the autism communities, but I do know that a lot of autistic children are just not that well coordinated. My son Shane could never really keep up with the other kids when they were running around, just playing tag or whatever in the park. He always had a hard time catching up. He would always fall down, and that would make him frustrated. And I just thought, like, he's growing really fast because my son is really tall. He was heavier and stronger than most of the other kids. I thought that was affecting his coordination. And maybe to an extent it was, but only through my research and more experience with autism did I realize that many, many, many kids with autism are struggling with coordination. Autistic children, they have a hard time feeling their body in any given space. So it makes it hard for them to run, jump, stand on one leg, that sort of stuff. So if your child is really uncoordinated and, you don't really understand why, talk to your doctor. It hopefully is nothing, but it could be a sign of autism. Those are the 3 things that I consider to be not so obvious autistic traits. And they're also things that I wish I would have known about earlier so that I could help my son sooner. That's why I made this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up or share it with somebody that you think it could help. Thanks so much for watching. Looking forward to the next video.